Hello, welcome to episode 55, Start Writing Today. I'm Rachel Pilcher. I am here to provide you with some writing advice for this week. So first, announcements. If you're still making some plans for writing in the new year, I will be teaching my signature class, Write Fearlessly with Writing Workshops Fort Worth on Saturday, February the 8th, 2020 from 1 to 4 p.m. It's coming up. It's getting close. I know that there are still a few seats left, so if you are interested in joining me with my Write Fearlessly workshop, please go to rachelpilcherwritingworkshops.com, click on Rachel in person, and follow the link to the Writing Workshops Fort Worth page. It has been a while since I have joined you. It's been, well, I've had at least a week and a couple of days, and I try to do this every week, but we had some emergency medical issues with my family that I needed to take care of, and so I was taking care of family. That's a very important thing to do. So as the topic for tonight is start writing today, that's one of the things that you really need to take into account whenever you're doing planning. I know for my 2020 goals that I did a couple of episodes ago, that I was talking about, doing what you need to do to get your writing done. Well, part of that is making sure that your family is taken care of. So that is what I'm working on, and it's still, an ongoing issue, but I am back at it now. So if you haven't started writing your book yet, the best advice that I have is to start writing. A lot of people are going to just say, do plotting, do planning, prep before you start your writing. And even I've said that. I say that a lot because it's true. You do need to do that to ensure that your writing has clarity, that it has a conciseness, that it is understandable and has flow, but it's not necessarily the first place you should start. Many writing instructors will tell you that you have to plan, you have to plan, you have to plan. And I think that for many writers, that does throw you off. I know that if I was really honest about it, I don't start with a plan. I jump into it. I get going on the writing because I like diving into the stories that are on my mind. And, as a classroom teacher, for high school, this is what I would call pre-writing. So if you remember the days back when you were in school and you were encouraged to do pre-writing, to do the word bubbles and try to figure out where, what you have ideas for, or to just start, writing a simple first draft. That is what I'm talking about doing. So, this is kind of like when the story hits you and you're like, oh, well, I'm thinking about having this, and then I'm thinking about having this happen. Just sit down and write it. I know I could easily spend on this writing several hours and maybe even a couple of days, just kind of crafting an idea, getting sort of the basic three-part structure without actually planning what the three-part structure is. And, I only stop when I've exhausted the creative part of that. Just that basic, zing of getting the story out. So what you need to do on this is you don't overthink. You just write it out. Thinking about how the story is going to go together can be saved for later. So it really is easy to do too much planning and get lost in that planning and thinking of what you're going to put into the story. So trying to do the story part first is always a good idea, and it's good to see where it takes you. The planning stage can come after you've given all the words and ideas that you have and gotten them down on paper, because this is that's part of the enjoyable part of writing. It's like, oh, I have this great idea, and you just start writing. So it may be kind of pantserish, but I don't think it really is, because it is getting that basic idea down. So if you want to know how much of this writing you should do before you actually begin planning to do the story? Well, as I've said, I write everything I possibly can down in the story. Sometimes it comes out to, you know, it could be 3 pages, it could be 10 pages, it could be 20 pages. And then it just depends on what you have going on in your brain with this story and how you want to go to get it together. And then after I do that, then I look at what I have and I outline. So, you know, it's a combination. And there are some times that you get, you know, the different parts of the story down, and then you manipulate it and you're moving things around. Well, that's part of making your work better. So, you know, you may find at this point, whenever you're writing all that out, it always gives you a good perimeter of finding that, you know, maybe the story I'm writing doesn't quite have enough content to be a full-length book, or it could be an amazing short story, or it can be a novella, but or it could have enough just different ideas in it that it could end up being, you know, several books. It could be, you know, a series. It could be a trilogy. You know, whatever it is. I have a couple of ideas that I know I have set down and I have mapped them all out, and it turns out I actually have a series on my hands if I really sat down and wrote it. And that's one of the goals I have for this year, is to really sit down and write some of my stuff that I have been putting off because I've been helping a lot of other people write. I'm still going to be doing that, so stay tuned. But don't be afraid to have that very crappy initial first draft. It's not even a first draft, it's a pre-draft. Your first draft is what's going to come together after you do organize everything. So I'm hoping that this will give you the freedom to sit down, write something. It could be terrible, it could be great, but just know that it's not going to be perfect, as it's, I was going to say spewing out, but spewing kind of sounds gross, but as it is coming forth from your brain onto the page, that sounds better. So just know there are ways that you can improve it from there. So thank you for joining me tonight. If you found this information helpful, please make sure to click the like button. I appreciate all those likes, and definitely feel free to share this video with others who you think could benefit from my words of advice. And while you're here, take a moment to subscribe to this YouTube channel, Rachel Pilcher Writing Workshops. You'll get the most updated content from me, and it'll be right in your feed if you subscribe to it. Bonus, it's free to subscribe. So all you have to do, sign up for a YouTube account. Thank you again, and I will see you again soon. Have a good evening.